Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our latest episode of the Musical Musings program. We air this program every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And we broadcast it to you from Rajamachan University of Technology, Peranakan. I will be bringing you this program in two parts. For our first part, I'm going to introduce a band and a song to you, and we will discuss the band a little bit and discuss the main themes of the song. A theme means what it's about. So we'll talk about what the song's about. Then we'll go ahead and listen to that song, and we will come back after that for the second part of our program where we will analyze the lyrics. The lyrics are the words to the song, so we'll check out any vocabulary, any slang, any idioms. An idiom is a saying where the words don't mean exactly what the words would tell you it would mean. So anything that might be hard to understand, we will discuss that in the second part of our program. Then we will have the news and latest updates from the university as usual.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Gary Gray, and I am your host for the Musical Musings program. I'm an American English teacher here at Rajamachan University of Technology, Peranakan. I have been here teaching in Thailand for about 7 years, always at this university, and I sometimes like to incorporate music into my teaching, and so that's why I am bringing you this music program. So for today's episode, we are going to be doing the song You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, sometimes just called Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, but the real name is You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. It's You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, and the name of the group is Bachman Turner Overdrive. Interesting band name. And actually, we mentioned them in last week's program, if you were here with us then. Last week, we did the song American Woman by the Guess Who. And even though I like to think that I know a little something about music, that's why I do the program, you know, we cover lots of different types of music here, lots of different genres. We do tend to do quite a bit more classic rock than anything else, old rock and roll music. But we do cover lots of different genres. So it's hard for me to really know all there is to know about some of these groups, so I have to do some research and such. And so last week was kind of interesting. So as I'm watching the video for American Woman, watching it, trying to make sure I listen to the lyrics, make sure I catch everything, so that I can give you a good understanding of what it means. And I'm watching it on YouTube. I'm watching the video, and somebody there looks familiar. I had no idea it was the same singer, not the lead singer in the Guess Who, that was someone else, for that song at least, but one of their guitarists is the lead singer in Bachman Turner Overdrive. And I recognized him from the Guess Who, and I was thinking to myself, isn't that the same person? It sure is. His name is Randy Bachman. That's where Bachman Turner Overdrive gets its name. So Bachman Turner Overdrive, we sometimes just call it BTO for short. So BTO was formed between three brothers, the Bachman brothers. Randy Bachman was kind of the most popular one. He did the most. He was already popular with the Guess Who. He came out of that band. So we had Randy Bachman and his two brothers. And then there was Randy Turner. I have to correct myself. I'm not sure if that first name is right. I may have researched that incorrectly. I should know his name because he's also quite popular for the band. Obviously, that's his name. His name is in the band. It's Bachman Turner. So I apologize for that if I got his first name wrong in my notes here. I might have just been writing too quickly because I know it's Randy Bachman. So I also wrote Randy Turner, and I'm trying to think, are they both Randys? Or did I write that wrong? So I might have that name incorrect. I'm not sure. But it was the three Bachman brothers and Mr. Turner, whatever his first name was. And they formed in 1973. They are, if you listened to last week's program, they are, as you would know, from Winnipeg, Alberta, Canada. The reason you would know that is because Randy Bachman is from Winnipeg, Alberta, Canada. We know that because that's where the Guess Who is from, and he was part of the Guess Who. So he was in last week's band and this week's band. So they've really been around ever since then. So they've been around forever. But they did have a couple of breaks. They took a break around 1980, got back together in 1983. They also went on a little bit of a break around 2005, and I believe they did perform continuously from 83 to 2005. I don't think there were any breaks in there. Came back together in 2005, and then more recently, they kind of broke again, and they only very recently, I think it was just last year, sort of got back together. I say sort of. It's really just the two of them. It's Randy Bachman and Turner. And so they now tour as Bachman and Turner. They don't tour as BTO. So it's just Bachman and Turner. But they were the two key performers in the band. So that is really the core of the band. So there's probably some legal reason why they can't use BTO. One of the other members probably won't let them or something. I don't know. I don't know the whole story behind that. Or maybe they just wanted a fresh start, so they didn't want to use the name. But the reason I say there's going to be some issue there is because these are the two main performers. They could have used Bachman Turner Overdrive. They could have used BTO. I sometimes talk about how bands, they change all their members, and you end up with another band who is that really them anymore. We have that you remember we discussed that last week with the Guess Who. None of the members of the Guess Who now are the original members. So is that really the Guess Who? I would say no. They still use the name, although, as I mentioned last week, there are some legal issues with that, so they may not be using the name for much longer. But they still, up until now at least, they're still using the name. But I would say that's not really still the band. Well, these guys, Bachman and Turner, they are Bachman, Turner, Overdrive. As I said, Randy Bachman was the number one of the three brothers. Because he had the most fame, the most success. He was their lead singer. So he's the most important of the three Bachman brothers, and he is still with Turner when they're performing now. So really, they could still use the name if they wanted to, if they could for legal reasons. Like I said, I'm not really sure why they changed it. At any rate, technically, since they don't use the same name, Bachman Turner Overdrive is now gone. They disappeared as of a few years ago, but Bachman and Turner do still perform together. And they are still, I'm not sure how much they still tour. They're obviously getting fairly old since they formed in 1973. And Randy Bachman was with the Guess Who since the late 1960s. So he's been around a long time. Getting pretty old. So I'm not sure they tour too much, but I do know they still perform together. They are still together as of 2024. Okay, so Bachman Turner Overdrive, and we're doing the song You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. That came out in 1974. Remember, they formed in 1973, so it was pretty early on, but they were very prolific. That means doing a lot of stuff. They were very prolific with their songwriting because this was their third album that this came out on. Their third album. They formed in 1973. This song came out in 1974. They had been around for a year. They were on their third album already. So they were really turning out quite a lot of music. For that reason, they do have quite a few good hits as well. They have some other great songs. In fact, this may not even be my favorite song by them. It may be. It's close. It's certainly their most fun song, as you will see when you listen to it. But again, came out in 1974. It is probably their most popular song. It did hit number 1 in the U.S., hit number 2 in the U.K., so very popular in different parts of the world. And it's really a very simple song. What we're really going to talk about today when we analyze the lyrics, a lot like last week's song, was very simple. We're going to talk about the sayings, the idioms, the words that might be hard to understand. We're not going to try to explain the song, the meaning of the song itself, as we do sometimes. There's not really a need for that. It's a song about a bad woman that this person is maybe in love with because they don't seem to totally regret it in the words to the song. But she's still a bad woman. So, is this good? Is this bad? But you know, a lot of people have maybe been in relationships like that. You're with someone who may not be the best person in the world for you, but those type of people sometimes are a little bit fun, aren't they? Because they're a little bit crazy. So, you might enjoy it, even though they're not a good person. You probably won't enjoy it for long, but at least for a little while, you might enjoy it. So it's kind of an interesting song because of that. I also think it's interesting because we did American Woman last week, which was also about a bad woman. And so it's just quite interesting that American Woman is the Guess Who's number 1 song. And this is Bachman Turner Overdrive's number 1 song. Again, they do have some other songs that are really good, that are right up there. But as far as where they rated in the US and in the UK, this is their top song. So it's very interesting that they have similar subject to the song, and one of their main performers is the same. Now, Randy Bachman is not the lead singer in American Woman, singing American Woman from the Guess Who. So that's not the same. I forget that gentleman's name. I believe it's Allen is his last name. But he's the lead singer on American Woman from the Guess Who. So Randy Bachman wasn't the lead singer there like he is with this song. But he's still one of the primary main performers in the Guess Who. So it's very interesting that he switched over to this band. Did a very similar song. And again, their most popular song. So here's Randy Bachman again, doing music about bad women. And coming out on top with his number 1 hit. So that's their number 1 song. Now, before we listen to the song, I am going to tell you one thing about it that's very interesting. And I'm going to introduce a new word to you. The word is stuttering. Now, stuttering is generally a problem that some people have. Now, in this song, it's kind of weird the way he uses it in this song because it's not nice to make fun of people that have a stutter. It is it's kind of a psychological problem, but it's a medical problem. The President of the United States used to have a stutter, and you can still hear it sometimes. Joe Biden, the President of the U.S., as of 2024. We're having an election this year, so he won't be next year. But as of right now, still the President of the United States. Sometimes when you hear him speak, he will he has trouble getting his words out. That's called a stutter. S-T-U-T-T-E-R. So they do that in this song. The reason I say it's a little weird, first of all, nobody has ever done that in a song. I don't remember anyone doing this in a song. And second of all, he's not doing it to make fun. He's doing it just to have fun. And I believe I had read somewhere that either he has a stutter or his brother does. I think it might be his brother. So he was teasing his brother. It was done nicely. Obviously, like I said, it's kind of mean. You shouldn't make fun of someone that way. But you know how brothers and sisters can be. You pick on them you make fun of them for anything. So I believe he was picking on his brother when he did this. And he ended up putting it in the song. So he put this stuttering in the song. But like I said, it wasn't done mean. It wasn't done to be mean. Well, I guess it's a little bit mean. You're picking on your brother. But his brother's in the band, don't forget. They're just having fun with each other. They're just playing around. It wasn't like meant to be evil, make fun of him, make him cry, make him feel bad. No, he was just the way brothers are with one another. I had a brother. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. But I had a brother, and we always do that. We always picking on each other, but we were best friends too. So he's picking on his brother. I believe that's the story. I could actually be wrong about that story, but I'm pretty sure that's right, that it was his brother that had that stutter. And so you're actually going to hear that in this song, which is very unique. I have never heard anyone do a stutter in a song before or since. Not that I can think of. Maybe there's another song out there with that style in there. But you'll hear it at the beginning of the chorus when he says, "Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet." When you hear him say baby and nothing, he's going to say bub, 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 baby, and nun, 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 nothing. That is called a stutter. And it's not nice to make fun of people with a stutter. I shouldn't even be laughing. But it's just funny because of the story behind it. So you're going to hear that in this song. It's a really fun song also because when he goes through that part, they also have this musical instrument called a cowbell, which you don't hear very often in songs anymore. There was like this really brief time in the 1970s where it was really popular to use. And it's in this song. So it's kind of fun to hear that. It's called a cowbell. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a bell that a cow would wear, except they use it as a musical instrument in the band. And so it sounds like metal. They're hitting a metal... Yeah, they call it a bell. It doesn't have much of a bell sound. It sounds more like you're just hitting a piece of metal. So they're using a drumstick, so it's wood on metal. And it makes kind of a sound like if you were hitting a metal cup. That's what it kind of sounds like. It's kind of a unique sound you don't hear very often. So you'll hear that in this song as well. And it's right around the same time that he's doing the stuttering, because it's right at the beginning of the chorus. So it's a really fun song. So hopefully you will enjoy the song. Let's get to it. Let's get to the song. All right, so for any of you joining us on YouTube, you will notice that we are without video again this week. But copyright issues prevent us from embedding the actual music video into this video. So please click on the link in the upper right, and that'll take you over to the music video. And then when that's done playing, you can just jump right on back here. Everyone else, if you're on radio or streaming, you should be able to listen just fine. So let's get to the song.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome welcome back, everyone. Okay, so that was You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet by Bachman Turner Overdrive. And as I mentioned in the first part of our program, that is a song about a bad woman. Okay, so again, as I mentioned before, we're not going to try to talk about what the song is about. It's pretty clear. It's a bad woman. Probably he shouldn't be with her, but he's loving her. As you'll see by one of the lines in the song, it says, any lovin's good loving, so he's just happy to be loved, so he's kind of happy about it. Even though she's not that good, it's kind of a good thing, bad thing sort of song, and that's really all it's about. The lyrics are pretty simple. So, what I really want to explain to you is what some of the sayings mean, or maybe some of the difficult words. There aren't a lot of difficult words. There may be one or two. It's more the sayings. There are several sayings in here that you might not have heard of. That might be a little confusing. All right, so let's get to these lyrics here. So we start out with, I met a devil woman. I will tell you right now, it's actually hard to even understand him when he says that. A devil woman. Devil. People in Western cultures will know exactly what that is. Some of you in Eastern cultures might be familiar with that. It's more common in Western cultures because in Christianity, that's like the evil person. You have God is good and then the devil is bad. So you have, it's kind of the Christian concept in religion. So that's who the devil is. The devil is the bad spirit in the world. Okay, so I met a devil woman. So in other words, she's a really bad woman. She took my heart away. All right, so when someone takes your heart away, that sounds bad. It's usually meant good. It means they won your heart. You fell in love with them. And I think he's purposefully using this saying because it sounds bad. And since this is a bad woman, it works well for the song to say that she took his heart away. But generally, if someone takes your heart away, that's meant good. That's meant in a good way. Like you've fallen in love with them. They have your heart. They won your heart over. So they own your heart. Okay? She said I had it coming to me, but I wanted it that way. Okay, this is a little confusing here. So she said I had it coming to me. When someone says you had it coming, this is one of these English sayings that you may not understand. If someone says you have it coming, you had it coming, that means something bad happened to you. And what they're saying when they say you had it coming, or you had it coming to you, it means you deserved it. You did something wrong. That's why this bad thing happened to you. Like just think of a criminal going to jail. They had it coming. They broke the law. They got caught. They go to prison. They had it coming. That's what that means. So she said I had it coming to me. Okay, that's interesting. So in other words, she's the bad person, of course, because she's the devil woman, right? But she's saying that he did something to get her involved with him. Okay, so that's interesting. But you can think of maybe he's not such a good person either. So maybe that's how they got together. Who knows? Who knows? Again, I'm not going to really try to explain the whole song to you. I don't think it has that deep of a meaning. I think it's just a fun song. So I don't think the meaning is meant to be deep here. So he deserved it. He deserved her. She's bad and he deserved it. That's what she's saying. And then the next line he says, but I wanted it that way. So in other words, he kind of wants to be with a bad woman. Remember what I was talking about in the first part of the song, sometimes, in the first part of our program, sometimes you want to be with someone who's a little bit bad. Can be exciting, can be fun. So he wanted it that way. Okay, then we continue on. I think any lovin's good lovin'. Okay, remember I told you about that line. So what he's saying is it doesn't matter if she's good or bad. It's love. He's happy. So I took what I could get. Right, now, what does that mean? So I took what I could get. This is another English saying. This one might be a little more a little easier to understand. When you say I took what I could get, it basically means you know you're not going to get everything you want from a situation. And so you just decide, okay, it's fine. I'll be okay with whatever I can get out of that situation. So I took what I could get. All right, so I took what I could get. She looked at me with big brown eyes and said, "You ain't seen nothing yet." Okay, so here's another saying, and it's the title of the song, "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet." What does that mean when someone says you ain't seen nothing yet? First of all, ain't isn't a word. It's slang for isn't, for have not, rather, excuse me. It's slang for have not. So you have not seen, and then you shouldn't use nothing. We call that a double negative. It would be you have not seen anything yet. That would be proper English. But as a saying, this is how we say it. You ain't seen nothing yet. So what does it mean? When someone says you ain't seen nothing yet, it means you are going to see a lot more of what you just saw. For example, you're watching your favorite sport. They brought in this new player. He's the best player ever to play the game. Maybe it's football. He scores a goal. Wasn't the prettiest goal in the world. It's pretty good. It's good. Yay, he scored. That's nice. But you might say, since it wasn't that pretty of a goal, and this is the best player ever to play the game, it's his first goal ever, because he's new, he's just coming along, you might say, you ain't seen nothing yet. In other words, there's going to be a lot more goals, and they're going to be a lot better, a lot prettier, a lot more impressive than that. There's going to be a lot more of that. So that's what she's saying. Keep in mind, she's a bad woman, so this is scary for her to say, you ain't seen nothing yet. Then we get the stutter, where he says, baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. So he repeats the line with baby at the beginning and with the stutter. Okay. Then the next line is, here's something you're never going to forget. Okay, so that should be easy to understand, right? There's nothing confusing there. She's a bad person, so she's giving him some experience because she's a little bit crazy that he's not going to forget. So, simple as that. Okay, and we repeat, baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet, with the stutter. Nothing. You ain't been around. Okay. That's how that kind of ends. It's like a short line. It seems a little bit weird. When someone says you haven't been around, again, ain't means haven't. When someone says you haven't been around, it means you have not done a lot in the world. You don't know a lot about life. So again, she's being a little bit scary because she's going to show him some things about life that he doesn't know. And they may not be good things, because she's the devil woman. So, you ain't been around. In other words, you have not seen much in this world, and she's going to show it to him. All right. So now we continue on, and now I'm feeling better, because I found out for sure. She took me to her doctor, and he told me of a cure. Okay, nothing mysterious there, right? That's pretty easy. He's feeling better. He found out for sure. When you say for sure, it means absolutely, you know. So now he knows. He went to the doctor. He found out a cure for whatever it is his problem is. His problem is probably that he's worried, doesn't know what's going on. So maybe he went to a psychiatrist type doctor. Actually, again, we're reading too much into the song. It's just a fun song. There's nothing here he would actually go to a doctor for. It's just, he's just having fun with the song. So the doctor, supposedly, that he went to, we get to the next line. He said that any love is good love. So remember, he said that himself earlier in the song, and now his doctor is telling him that any love is good love. So I took what I could get. Yes, I took what I could get. And she looked at me with those big brown eyes and said, "Ba-da-da-da-da." And so we go through the chorus again. You ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, so then we get to the next verse. You need education. Gotta go to school. Really? That's it? Because then we get back to, so I took what I could get. I took what I could get. And she looked at me with her big brown eyes and said, so we go back to that. So we're kind of repeating a lot at this point in the song. So what does he mean here? You need education, got to go to school. We're probably talking about kind of the school of life. Because remember, the last thing she actually said to him was, you ain't been around. He hasn't seen much of life. So that's what we're talking about here. And so that's maybe why, to him, this is actually a good thing. Any love is good love. Because he needs to go to school, the school of life. He needs to do some living. He needs to be with this devil woman for a while. Again, don't want to read too much into the song. Don't want to give you too much of the meaning of the song. I'm just trying to tell you what those two lines mean. When someone says you need to get an education, they don't always mean that you need to go to university or go to Matayam. They sometimes mean you just need to learn something. And so that's what I think he's saying here. Even though he does say gotta go to school, we sometimes call that in Western culture the school of life. That means when you learn by living. So that's what he's probably talking about there. He doesn't mean actually going to school. This is a 30-year-old man singing this song. That's not what he's talking about. Okay, and like I said, we then go back to the chorus. And that is really about it. We do repeat some other things again that aren't part of the main chorus. Like when it says, you ain't been around, she says that again. We also have where she says, I need an education, go to school. So we get that again. So we get some repeats in here. But that's really it. It's all just repeats from this point on. So that's the song. It's a very simple song, like I said. Not hard to understand. It's really just some of these sayings that could be hard to understand. Like you had it coming, you ain't seen nothing yet, you ain't been around, things like that. Might be a little hard to understand those sayings. So this is a good song for learning that. There's not much in terms of difficult words. And we don't really need to understand the song itself very much. It's a bad woman. Probably not good for him. But he needs an education, as it says. So he's happy to be with her. Any love is good loving. All right. So there's your song. Okay, so that was You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet by Bachman Turner Overdrive. Again, sometimes we just call them BTO. They're a great band. Been around forever. Like I said, they've kind of broken up, gotten back together, broken up, gotten back together. Their breakups seem to me, I don't know all of the history of them. They seem to me have not been bad breakups. Some bands hate each other when they break up. Fleetwood Mac, for example, had a very bad breakup. Shockingly, they still came back together occasionally. We did the song The Chain on this program, and if you watch the video for that on YouTube, you can see that they still hate each other when they're singing the song, which is pretty funny because that's kind of what the song is about. The Chain is about They had relationships with each other, so it was a little bit of a crazy situation with that band. And then they were still writing music when they were all breaking up with one another. And that's what The Chain was about. It's about all their breakups and how they hurt each other and how they don't like each other. And so it's an interesting song to watch the video of, the live concert video of it. And it was when they got back together. And you can see they still don't like each other. But it works well for that song because you get the anger coming out. It's a great song. My favorite song by Fleetwood Mac. So I mention that because a lot of bands do break up kind of nasty. They don't like each other anymore. Even a band like the Beatles was a little bit more of a friendly breakup. They had just kind of grown tired of each other. But even there was still some anger, hate, bitterness between them. I don't think that really happened here. The reason I say that is because they kept getting back together. And now, what? They formed in 74. It's been 50 years. Now 2024. They're still together. They're not BTO anymore, as I mentioned before. But Bachman and Turner are still together. Still writing new music. Not even just performing their old stuff. Writing new music. Still together. So I think these guys still get along. And so because they've been around so long, they've actually had quite a bit of good music. So they have a lot of other really great songs. Maybe my favorite song by them, I don't know. It's close between the song we did today, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. But one of my other favorite songs of theirs is Let It Ride. I love that song. It's not quite as popular. As I said, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, I think is their only one to get to number one in the U.S., but Let It Ride got pretty high in the charts. It's a very good song. Taking Care of Business, another really big song of theirs. They had a couple of other big ones, which in my mind I think are kind of ranked a little bit below those other three, but still pretty big. Roll On Down the Highway, Freewheelin'. Several other kind of more moderate hits. So they have but still hits. They have a lot of hit songs. They really put out a lot of really good music. And there was a time, I'm kind of old, so it was when I was growing up. There was a time there when they were really popular, and I think it was almost like a second surge in popularity, because most of these big songs were during the time when they were originally together, from 1973 to 1980. But I remember in the mid-'80s, because of course they came back, like I said, around 1983. I remember in the mid-'80s, BTO was pretty big. And that's how we would always just call them. It wouldn't be Bachman, Turner, Overdrive. It would just be BTO. And they were pretty big at that time again. So they kind of had a second resurgence. I mean, they're still popular, of course, because everyone that's old enough still remembers them, loves their music. So, yeah, they're still quite popular. But, I mean, they were really popular there, kind of a second time in the mid-'80s. So, lots of good songs. Lots of good music. So, I encourage you, if you like this song, it is kind of a fun song. I don't know if any of their other songs are quite as fun as this one, but they're really good. As I said, one of my favorite songs by them is Let It Ride. I don't know whether it's my favorite song, since You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet is right up there. I think You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet is a little more fun than Let It Ride. So it's close. But both of those are great songs. Taking Care of Business, like I mentioned, was also very popular. Roll On Down the Highway, Freewheelin', a number of others that were a little lower ranking, but still quite good. So go ahead and check them out. Again, you can look them up under Bachman, Turner, Overdrive, or just BTO. And if you do want to look them up, you don't know how to spell that, Bachman, how do you spell that? And it actually can be spelled two different ways. That's a last name. Some people spell it with one N at the end. Some people spell it with two N's at the end. Also, the K sound there is not with a CK. It's with a CH. So it is a little hard to spell. So that is spelled Bachman. So there's only one N there. Bachman. Bachman Turner. Turner's an easier name. Turner. Bachman Turner Overdrive. Go check them out. Great music. and enjoy their music. Like I said, it's great music. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone, for today's Musical Musings program. Please make sure you stay with us. And also, tune back in next week where I will bring you another great song. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Musical musings, musical